Morning, y'all. Wiggle here. It looks to be about 56 in the greenhouse. It was more like 40 when I got in here this morning. So it is a right frigid day out there. Right frigid morning. In the greenhouse itself, well, it's about 30. 36. Not a lot that's going to survive that. It's even colder out there. I don't have a thermometer out there. So, pretty far along. I'm organizing the greenhouse here. We're going to have a sunny day. So I was, it's early February and I'm like, well, I need to start some seeds. I got this greenhouse. It's sitting here doing nothing. It's such a waste. So I figure I should get something growing. So I'm thinking of doing seedlings, and I'm a big fan of direct sowing and even getting extra seed. I know seed's expensive, but time is more expensive. I'd rather get more seed and do less work. I scatter it out there, get it going, and then you don't bother with the transplanting and all that. So a lot of crops I would prefer to just direct sow. It just seems that the plants do better more quickly, even though they have a harder start. But once they get started, then they do better than transplants, just from what I can tell. And I'm not real good at it. I just do what I have to do to try to make it work. That being said, there are certain plants that you really do need to transplant because of just the length of the season. If it gets too hot too soon, or it gets too cold too soon, or you need a certain amount of days to get mature, there are certain things that you really do need to start. And I think peppers and tomatoes are one of those things. There are tricks you can do with using the suckers to get new plants off tomatoes, but if you need a new variety or you don't have a good start, you need to start in the greenhouse. So I'm looking at that, and this temperature, my seedlings would be dead if I had tomatoes or peppers or other more of your subtropicals. They just can't take these temperatures. They might be perennials in certain environments, but not in this one. Now, other things, I put brassicas in here. They're probably going to be all right, even when it gets down to freezing. It's iffy, but as long as it stays above freezing, a lot of your cold weather crops will be fine. It might even grow now that we're getting a little bit longer days. So at any rate, I'm going to see what I'm doing. I had these heat mats that I bought, and they are pricey. I imagine they're really pricey these days. But I have like 8 of them. I'm going to press them into service. So I got those 4 there. I'm going to use them on this shelf. And I got these 4 I'm going to use on this shelf. These are a little shorter than the others, but there is extra hanging over. I'm not sure if that's a problem, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. And I'm going to put a curtain around this shelf, so when I leave the mats on, I'll get the temperature set. I want to make sure not to cook anything. Lower temperature. They are all thermostatically controlled, which you pay more for that. But I'll get the temperature set. I'll put a thermometer in the dirt and set the temperature where I think is good. Then I'm going to wrap this thing at night with just a regular old curtain. Just put the curtain around it, and hopefully these heat mats will maintain a little bit higher temperature inside that curtain. Now, I'm not going to do that with peppers and tomatoes out here. I'm not going to go that far. But I'll use it on some other crops that maybe a little warmth to help them move along a little more quickly. Because it is light and it is soil temperature, both that affect seeds in different ways. These are longer ones, so I'm going to do the same kind of idea here. Leave the extra hanging over. My sun exposure is going to be back here to this corner, and then it sets over this way. So we get good late sun, and it's nice and warm. It's good for this time of year. And as you can see, Sun has not quite made it over here yet, so it won't make it for a little while. So I am cutting these trays. This is a standard size wire shelf, and it's just so aggravating when you put one tray on there and you got this little, what do you do with it? So I'm just going to go ahead and make the trays to fit, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. When it warms up in here, I am going to definitely get some seeds started today. And I'm also going to get my solar collector patched up. I'm going to pull these shelves down. I'm going to buy a full run of shelf to go all the way across. So it'll go from there all the way across to there. And I need to get a full run of shelf there. I'll probably put another shelf. I'm not sure. I might just do all hanging stuff back in there. Like I said, I don't need to cram every inch of this place. I'd rather have less done well than just cram it in here and not enjoy working on it or watering it. It's just too much work. Should make it more pleasurable. I just find cramming the greenhouse full, it just doesn't give you any elbow room, and it's just not much fun. So this is a load of probably 4-year-old compost. It's probably frozen. Yeah, it's frozen. It got right cold down in here last night. So let me show you how I'm cutting this. Alright, I'm going to pause it for a second. So having it up to 50 some is nice in here, and it's only doing that because of this right here. Little buddy here. And I don't usually like to do that, but I want to be out here working. So waiting for it to warm up, it just costs me hours of light. So I'm burning a $4 cylinder every day or two. And I do have the bigger tank. I just use these little ones for now. They can be refilled and all. Let me show you how I'm cutting. Lighten this out a little bit. Nope, this is why it goes. So here we go. I've got this little like a daisy tray or whatever they call it. So I figured by just looking at it, you cut on the third web over. And I just got your standard 10 snip. Oh, snapped. The plastic's cold. So there's my third. Alright, now on this part, you see that? Alright. I want to leave as much plastic intact as possible. So I'm not going to cut through the little diamond shape, square shape on the big tray. I'm going to keep that intact. Now I'm going to save this little piece because it'll hold 2 trays. Let me show you. So that holds 2 trays nicely. And the one I just cut will hold. Just nicely. You know, you do have that loose end there, and then I'll just stick this on that shelf out there. There, like I've already done on that one. So then I'll have 1, 2, 3 more, and I already have them cut. Hold on a sec. So there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see, that shelf is fairly well utilized. Now there's a little space here and there, but the way the trays stick out and everything, I'm just going to live with that. That's fairly useful. It could be a little narrower on the shelf, as you see. You got a little extra, but you just got to work with the standard size stuff. I'm going to show you something else as far as standard size. Yeah, I don't have a tray with me, but I have noticed on the standard wire shelving you get, and this piece, it was just like a piece I had laying around, and it actually fits the tray perfectly if I had a full tray. So my plan is to make, for in here, for peppers and tomatoes or other more tender, temperature tender things, I'm going to make a wood uprights, and I'm going to attach these pieces of wire shelves, these scrap pieces, and I'm going to make a shelf, but it's going to be perfectly designed to fit these trays. And I'm going to close it in with plastic, scrap pieces of plastic I have, on 3 sides at least. I'm going to put it right here in front of this sliding glass door. But this is the panel that doesn't move. So I'm going to put it right there, so it'll be closed on the sides with plastic. And maybe the back, because depending, I have a lot of little scrap pieces of the polycarbonate stuff. So I'm going to just see what I can get done with my scrap. I don't want to go through the trouble of making a hinge or anything. So, yeah, I'll probably close in the sides. If I don't have to cut up too much scrap, I'd rather leave it as close to original size as possible, so I don't get all these little pieces. I'll probably leave the back open, and then you could just use like a regular blanket or a piece of burlap or tarp or visqueen, you know, whatever you got to close that back. And then I'll use a little like 250 watt heater that I have, like a personal size heater, and I'll put that in there inside the whole thing, and I'm going to build it where it runs all the way the whole length of this glass, but at the very top I'll skip a little bit. And I was considering maybe making adjustable shelves, but I'd have to go by standards and all that. So I'll probably just do like 12 inches apart and give those seedlings a few inches to go, maybe like 10 inches. That way you have like 2 inches and then of dirt and then 6 inches of growth. So anyways, I'm going to cut up some regular 2x4s, like just whitewood 2x4s, whatever they're made out of these days. Pine, spruce, or fir, or whatever. Don't think it's fir, but whatever those 2x4s are made out of, I guess they are pine still, I don't know. But I'm going to cut them up on a table saw, get those little thin strips. I don't see that I'm going to need a whole ton of strength in those. I'll probably do a few cross braces just to tie the whole thing together. Well, I don't know, maybe the shelf will be the structural element of it. I'll probably just use the shelf itself. I'm not going to do anything other than uprights. And I'll use some little metal strapping or some kind of, you know, conduit straps or pipe straps or something to tie these shelves to the uprights. But anyway, they're going to be designed around this tray, and I'll have some kind of water tray at the bottom. That way you can water at the top, and as the water runs through, it's not going to create a whole lot of problems to rot your floor out in here or anything. This floor is not made to get wet so much as out there it's all treated. In here it's not. In here I'll rot it out. So I want to make sure to have it where the water is not splashing all over the place in here. So I use cafeteria trays a lot, like on these right here. And I'm careful not to overwater and get water dripping. I'd rather just water a little more frequently and just not cause runoff, make a mess. Out in the other part, I'll just use a hose. I'm not so concerned out there about the water. So I'm going to get these shelves built so I can get these seedlings going today, and I'll show you how I do that. Here's the office study, you know, workshop kind of place I'm working on here. This will be the backdrop of my videos when I'm talking on camera. It's kind of a mess right now. I built these shelves out of all scrap oak boards and stuff, and you can see they're warpy and they have issues. They have knots and splits and whatever, but I think it looks all right. And I have some more room to expand. I ran out of scrap. These are short scrap. This isn't like long scrap or anything. These are all like, they were all less than like 25 inches, or a few of them were a little bit longer, so I use those as my uprights. But that's just a lot of little pieces of lumber. And I took my 2x4s, 16-inch scrap pieces, and I just made the bottom out of that. And I also used little scrap pieces here. They're like 11 inches or something, just to fill it in and make a floor out of, just like that kind of stuff right there. People throw that away or burn it. I save it. I use all my, until it gets too short, then I'll use it for kindling. So this is where I'm at with my office study. This is my study. This is my man cave. This is the only thing I've got right now. I just have my stuff scattered all through the house and everything. So now this will be where I just do all different kind of work in here. Just nothing too dirty and too intensive with big tools. This is more delicate work. And then this was where the floor was collapsing, and now I'm getting like office supplies and just storage in here. And none of this is wired out here, so I'm going to be trying to just keep it off grid as possible, even though I do have AC lighting for now. Whoa! Fell off that 2x4, but I didn't replace that. Good catch though, right? Alright, so these are just buckets of okra husks. So anyway, I need to do a lot of organizing in here to get. But this is also my warm storage, so my like paint won't freeze, or my caulking. I have my bag of caulking right here. So I just, anything that can't freeze, get wet. But this will be kind of like extra storage from the house. A lot of it, it's just not quite organized yet. It'll be helpful though to put like totes and stuff, big totes full of stuff. So the office is coming along. I just call it my study. I have an office where I do my work, but that I don't like trying to do this stuff over the top of my regular work office. So this is like more my personal, let's call it a study. And I'm gonna get my other windows on the other side. I got this side done. I got to do the outside. These cross beams are coming out and all that. So this is that twin wall I'm replacing. Again, I just scrapped all that in under there, so it'll have a lot better view, let a lot more light in it. I'll be able to see a lot more clearly when I get that new clear stuff on. And it'll also keep the bugs, because it's going to be sealed, it'll keep the bugs from getting in, and the dirt and everything. It'll stay clean in between the sheets. Might get dirty on the outside, but I can rinse that off so I can have more light for plants. And I'm going to not put quite so many plants here. And I may actually put those heat pads, like 2 heat pads would probably cover this whole shelf. And I'm going to take this, I want to put a whole solid shelf in. I got this pieced in, so I don't really like that. So this is going to be what I build my little tray shelf out of. And I'll get a nice long piece to close that in. And they have like 16-inch shelving and 12-inch shelving. Sorry. So this 12-inch shelving. So that's the thin stuff. That's what you want anyway. So I probably won't have it quite so clogged up with spider plants. And some of these peppers that don't look like they're going to do anything at all, I'm going to take out of here. I'm going to move some spider plants over that way on these shelves. Just I was going to redo this part, but I'm just going to leave it. That way I can put taller plants in. I don't want to go adjusting a whole ton of shelves or anything like that. So I'll be reworking all these wire shelves today and planting seedlings and doing some more organizing. I'm still dragging stuff out of the house. At any rate, thanks for watching. I will catch up with you later when I get some seeds going.